Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. Today we're talking about keeping things like chipmunks out of your garden. I planted some bean seeds a few days ago, and one of the problems I have in my garden is that the chipmunks dig up the seeds before they germinate and they eat them, or if they germinate, they eat them when they're very small, nice and tender for the chipmunks. So I use row cover in order to protect the seeds, let the plants get fairly large, then I can uncover it once they flower, I get some pollination, and I avoid having the chipmunks destroy my plants. Bean seeds are relatively large seeds, so you take a look here, you can see, let's pour some out into my hand and you can see just how big they are. So they're really easy to work with. And when I plant them in the garden, I follow the directions on how far apart you want them. Now these, underneath this particular row cover, have been in there for several days, and if you look here, let me move some soil away. You can see here's one of them that's beginning to germinate. You can see some roots coming out, a little bit of green. I'll put it back underneath, cover it back up again, let that grow. But the idea here is that they're protected at this stage so that I'm not having my seeds get eaten and I don't have to keep replanting. And I discovered that the row cover works really well. Now, just a few things about the row cover. Number one, it's fairly expensive, so maybe you want to buy a bunch of it and share it with some other gardening neighbors. You have to make sure that it reaches the ground. You don't want any big gaps underneath that the chipmunks can crawl underneath. So I like to use little handfuls of soil all along the edge, and that keeps it pretty close to the ground, and I find the chipmunks don't really tunnel under there to get it. It just sort of deters them. It also will deter insects as well, so if you want to use row cover to stop certain insects, you can do that. Just Google what plant you're trying to protect and you'll see how long you need to keep it covered with the row cover. Also, the row cover can, if it gets really heavy rain, you want to be sure that you have something supporting it. We have some metal hoops here supporting the row cover so that it doesn't crush down on the particular plants, so that's important as well. But generally, it's really just a way to deter the critters, and it would also obviously keep birds out if they were going in and eating seeds. I've done the same thing with corn as well, and that works pretty well. So row cover protects the seeds, row cover protects the seeds, lets them germinate, get big enough so that the critters won't bother them, and then you'll be able to harvest whatever you want. In this case, we're working with beans. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.